discipline policies. Under, I believe it was the Biden administration, first Obama and then Biden, the Department of Justice issued guidance that made it almost impossible for schools to enforce adequate disciplinary policies. This created issues in the classroom for teachers and students alike. Basically, they focused on CRT and sort of diversity ideology instead of actually just enforcing the rules in classrooms to ensure a safe learning environment. This executive order revokes that prior guidance and puts us back in a place where hopefully the Department of Education can focus on education and teachers can focus on teaching in a safe environment.
And this was important for you, Linda, as I understand it. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely, because it gives teachers the authority now to have discipline in their classroom and discipline the person who is being disruptive.
Great.
We took that away.
Okay.
You guys, I thought I was done. I thought I could take my bath and be finished with videos today. But then President Trump did a thing. And let me tell y'all, be prepared for the racial nonsense that stems from this. So President Trump signed some executive orders today. Now, before we get into what he signed, how many of you knew that under Obama and Biden, that public schools could not report adequate disciplinary issues? It's called equity discipline. In other words, it is to help students who are more likely to be suspended, who are more likely to cause trouble, not be suspended, and they call that fair. So you've got a double standard. They're basically saying just because black kids are more disproportionately punished than white kids, you have to stop punishing them and you have to see it as racism to punish them. Because somehow little Karmelo can't be held accountable for his actions because he's black. Folks, that's the dumbest, most racist thing I've ever heard my entire life. All it's going to do is really set up a bunch of young boys and girls to be little Karmelos and end up in prison for life. Do you remember back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s how we had hunting rifles in our vehicles, unlocked, loaded, and we all carried pocket knives? No one ever hurt anyone? Ever? Do y'all remember that? Yeah. And for you younger folks, guess what? Desegregation had already happened, so we were all mixed together. None of us ever hurt anyone. We knew if we did, not only were we expelled for life from that school, we were going to prison for life. There were real consequences. Teachers applied behavior modification. It usually looked like a paddle. Our parents didn't say how perfect we were, knowing that we were not. Is that not insane? It sounds insane, but let me tell you why and how they could get away with it. Risk sensitivity theory, or something they call the desperate theory. This is what psychologists said. So if somebody feels like they're less than, or somebody perceives that people expect them to do something bad, it means the chance is going to be higher that they are going to do something bad. If the demographic goes up too high and there's not as many white kids or black kids causing a problem as the illegal kids, you'll lose your funding. I've never heard such nonsense in my life, folks. Over the past 10 years, I've heard teacher after teacher say, they won't discipline. Like, I send the kids out, they send them back to me. They won't do anything to these children. And I've heard parent after parent say, my child's having an issue with this child, but they won't do anything to this child. Especially in black communities. The black parents know that this kid is the problem. The school won't do anything because, see, due to the risk theory, right? Risk assessment theory, if they discipline too many of the children in that school, then it makes the demographic skew. and the federal government would punish the school. So they put the bad child back in the classroom to and or injure the teacher and or other students. Now, there was a lady speaking when President Trump was signing this executive order. This is the executive order that he signed. He said, no more, no more. You do not get to teach teachers that just because a child is black, you can't punish them because the world is mean to them. And just because a child is white, you can't not punish them. You see what I'm saying? Like, if the child is bad, they're going to get punished. Doesn't matter who or what they look like. So I'm really thankful he did this. There was a lady speaking, all right? A black teacher who's been for 8 years trying to tackle this issue. And she said Austin Metcalf's name. What?
Honored to be here. This has been an 8-year journey for me to raise awareness to the violence that's in public schools and the critical need to address violence in public schools. Again, been doing it 8 years because most administrations like to keep the violence hidden. We have 3 students that should be here with us today. We have Austin Metcalf, I'm sorry if I say his name wrong, Serenity Baker, and Nizir Taylor from Charlotte, North Carolina, who was shot in the back as he was getting off of a school bus because they thought he was a part of a big brawl that happened inside a public high school. So this is very important and critical legislation that we have to keep our educators safe, we have to keep our students safe, and public schools have to be safe environments. So I think, like I said, I've done this journey alone, I've been on it, but I have a whole team behind me now.
The black community that is supporting the white community, that is supporting the degenerate race hustlers that are supporting Karmelo Anthony are going to have a fit. Just get ready. By the way, folks, please consider supporting our channel. YouTube said my content was harmful. Mine. Truthful content is harmful. If you look in the top of comments, that's the pinned comment at the very top. Open it up. 4 different ways that you can support our channel, even with $1. Please don't be embarrassed by $1. I'm not embarrassed by your $1. I'm thankful for it. In fact, I'm asking for it. So now President Trump is requiring that the Department of Justice get involved with this. They want to know what the policies are in schools now. They are going to demand that students who are repeat offenders understand something about people. You don't just one day get up, put a weapon in your bag, go to a track meet that you had no business being at, being in the wrong place that you had no business being at, and then just decide to stab somebody to death. You don't just wake up and do those things. There were warnings beforehand. How many of these violent acts have we been seeing this year? I pointed it out yesterday in a video, last night in a video. Have these students been sending up warning signals that they are trouble? But because CRT, which is critical race theory, because of the color of their skin or the fact that they may be in a poverty area, they were allowed to continue to behave the way they were behaving. This has been one of the biggest issues for me as an ex-educator, is the lack of discipline of students who are causing issues. Rules are rules. That's why you're seeing such a race hustle go on right now with all these cases, because for so many years, since Obama, the rules have been skewed. So if your kid's in a predominantly white school and they break the rules, they're getting in trouble. Your white child or black child, because there are black kids that go to predominantly white schools, they're getting in serious trouble. But you switch the role, put them in a majority black school, and they could get away with that behavior. Now we're asking for people to be held accountable regardless of the color of their skin. Watch what happens. Watch them scream that this is so racist, and I can't understand. By the way, did you guys catch in this definition that they used an example was replacement theory. So I guess they're saying the people that are replacing all of us here in America can't be held accountable because they're expected to fail in their own minds. That's how insane that is. If you guys agree with me, if you agree that it is about time that people have to follow the same rules regardless of background, regardless of color of skin, regardless of sex and or gender, or even religion or ethnicity, then consider rowing with us financially, guys, to help us be able to stay on while, we're fighting with YouTube over our money. We would greatly appreciate it. But I just wanted to share this with y'all. This was so mind-blowing to me. I've been out of the classroom for about 16 years now, so I did not know that rules had changed so much that you can't, punish, oh, wow, look, we can't punish this kid because if we do, we're going to be over our quota on punishing black kids this week. Can't punish this kid. We're going to be over our quota for punishing Hispanic kids this week. That's insane. And it's not right. That's not right. No wonder people have black privilege in this country. And they wear it like a bet. They've been taught it for the past 20 years. Whew, we got a lot of fixing to do, folks. Don't give up hope. It's going to get better. And let me say this, black parents, your children's schools, if you're in a predominantly black area, black school, schools are going to get better. Give your president a chance. Look, we tried it the Obama way, and it's steadily getting worse. What could go wrong by punishing everybody by the same rules? Maybe we'll get all the little thugs out, all the little white wannabe mass shooters out of these schools, guys, and our kids will have a chance at a future. Let's just give it a chance.